I suddenly developed acute pancreatitis. When I got to the hospital, the doctor refused to treat me, only because my wife is a doctor in the emergency department. She instructed everyone not to allow anyone to treat me. In my past life, she would appear at the ring of a single phone call, but her beloved suffered a car accident and died on the spot. She pinned all the blame on me. On my mother's birthday, she drugged my entire family. She held the surgical knife and stabbed me again and again. Does it hurt? But Hugo was in more pain back then. If it weren't for you, how could he have gone out in my place? You killed Hugo. I want your whole family to die with him. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day I drank myself into pancreatitis because of her. This time, my wife didn't hesitate and ran straight toward Hugo White. She thought she had made the right choice. But in the end, she knelt and begged me to come back. I opened my eyes as a violent pain hit my abdomen. It was raining outside. A glance at the time made me fully realize that I had been reborn. Reborn to the day I developed acute pancreatitis after drinking heavily. Acute pancreatitis attacks with severe pain, and it's a potentially fatal illness. Realizing I had only just had an episode, I grabbed my car keys and drove to a top-tier hospital near Los Angeles. Only the emergency department was open in the middle of the night. When the doctor saw my name, he looked up, frowned, and called out, "Ethan Johnson?" The doctor on duty was none other than my wife's college classmate and colleague, Claire Lewis. I didn't have time for pleasantries. Clutching my stomach, I croaked, "Claire Lewis, I drank a lot today. It must be pancreatitis. Get me admitted and put me on N4." Having gone through it before, I knew the most important thing now was to be hospitalized and receive fluids. But to my surprise, Claire Lewis tossed my ID aside and said coldly, "Can't do it." I was dumbfounded. "What do you mean?" "Don't play dumb. Sophia already told me. You're not sick at all." Claire Lewis's disdain for me was plain to see. "Since you and Sophia are married, you should trust her. Pulling this kind of low trick is pathetic." I knew she had the wrong idea and hurried to explain. "Claire Lewis, I'm not pretending. I really have pancreatitis. If you don't believe me, order a test." Claire Lewis's frown deepened. "What do you take our hospital for? Are you going to waste medical resources like this? Get out. Don't hold up other patients." While we were talking, there were already 5 or 6 patients lined up behind me. After hearing Claire Lewis's words, they all accused me of wasting everyone's time. "If you're faking it, don't stand in line here. What do young people nowadays think? Do they have money and nowhere to spend it?" I knew Claire Lewis wasn't going to show it to me. Amid the murmurs, I clutched my stomach and headed for the exit. Just as I reached the door, I heard Claire Lewis speak again. "Emma Johnson, you know about Sophia's conflict with a patient a few days ago, right? Our department head is going to be transferred. That position was supposed to be hers." She warned me with a cold face, "If you still care about Sophia, don't make her lose face here." I was about to open my mouth to retort, but a sharp pain broke out in a sweat over me. For a pancreatitis patient, a minute's delay in treatment is 1 more minute of danger. I didn't say anything. I pushed the door open and walked out. Claire Lewis is mild-mannered, but every time she sees me, she comes armed with accusations. Because she still thinks I'm the one who inserted myself between Sophia Taylor and Hugo White. She believes I used underhanded methods to steal Sophia Taylor and break up that heavenly couple. Out of the consultation room, I felt like someone in my belly was sharpening a knife against my organs. In my previous life, it was at this exact moment that my pancreatitis flared up. At that time, I called the doctor on duty, my wife Sophia Taylor. She went straight home and picked me up to come to the hospital. But because she had left, her first love, Hugo White, went out in her stead to pick up a patient. There was a car accident halfway there, and he died on the spot. Later, Sophia Taylor learned that before his death, Hugo White had sold his house to bribe the director for her, giving a large sum of money and demanding that her punishment be revoked. The next day, the hospital withdrew the disciplinary action against Sophia Taylor. Even on his deathbed, Hugo White kept calling her name. After this, Sophia Taylor shut herself in her room and refused to eat or drink for 3 days. When she came out again, she had returned to her usual self. She smiled and talked to me, drove me to and from work every day, and cooked dinner for me. I thought she had let it go. I finally realized that as someone else's wife, she shouldn't be so heartbroken over an ex-boyfriend. But on the day of my mom's birthday, she volunteered to cook and poisoned every dish. She tied me to a chair and stabbed me with a scalpel again and again. Blood flowed everywhere. I begged her to spare my family. Sophia Taylor, eyes red, said, If I spare them, will Hugo come back to life? Ethan Johnson, you really deserve to die. Why'd you drink so much that day? Did you know Hugo's car was going to crash? I want to say I'm not a deity. How would I know Hugo White would get into trouble? The reason I drank so much was because the complainant against Sophia Taylor was a friend of my boss. Sophia Taylor was at a crucial point in her bid to become director. This complaint would undo all her efforts. I fell for her, so I pulled some strings with my boss. I invited the patient's family out to eat. After drinking 3 gin of Baijiu, they finally withdrew the complaint in front of me. I wanted to tell Sophia Taylor about this through my tears, but Sophia Taylor couldn't hear anything anymore. She shoved the knife into my mouth and stabbed around wildly. It's all your fault with that damn mouth of yours. If you hadn't drunk so much, Hugo wouldn't be dead. Your parents raised a son like you. What scum. May your whole family go with him to the grave. I trembled all over from the pain, tears running down into the split flesh. At last she was done torturing me and threw down the scalpel. She lit the whole room on fire with a lighter. Why, Hugo? I'm here with you. Looking at Sophia Taylor's affectionate eyes, I realized how laughably foolish I had been. I knew it when I was drinking. The reason usually gentle Sophia Taylor had a conflict with the patient was because Hugo White treated the patient poorly, and the patient cursed at him. After Sophia Taylor found out, she didn't care about anything and immediately drove him out of the hospital. A sharper pain interrupted my thoughts. My stomach hurt so much I could hardly stand. Time is life. I can't stay any longer. I forced myself to walk to the door, intending to hail a cab to another hospital. But the rain outside had intensified, raindrops the size of pigeon eggs striking the glass. The pattering was startling. It was already the early hours of the morning, and on top of that it was raining. I took out my phone and waited for more than 10 minutes, but not a single car accepted the order. I had to force myself to go to the nurse's station and ask if there were any other on-duty doctors. The nurse saw my face and immediately stopped smiling. She waved me off like shooing a beggar. No, the doctors are all busy. But I saw that there were no doctors there. I faltered after the nurse shot me a cold look, then begged, I'm really in a lot of pain. If there are no doctors in the ER, could you call the ward doctors upstairs for a consult? No. The nurse waved her hand in disgust. I told you to stop putting on a show. Dr. Taylor already instructed that no one is to bother with you. From Claire Lewis's attitude just now, I already knew. Sophia Taylor must have been reborn too. So I didn't contact her. But I didn't expect her to be so ruthless. She actually told everyone not to treat me. Sophia Taylor is a genius doctor and the beloved protege of the emergency department chief. If she hadn't stood up for Hugo White, she would be the most likely candidate to become the next emergency department chief. So the doctors here all listened to her very well. The pain grew worse and worse. I bent over, trying to move toward the door to try my luck. But I had only taken a few steps when I heard the laughs of 2 nurses. This is Dr. Taylor's mistress, huh? She doesn't look that great either. She was never pretty. I heard she drugged Dr. Taylor to sell medicine. What a fucking monster. She really acted it well, like she was a patient with pancreatitis. The 2 of them were completely unabashed. Every word reached my ears verbatim. Only now did I realize how rotten my reputation was in this hospital. Sophia Taylor and I did meet at the hospital. At first, I was a pharmaceutical rep, and she was a doctor. At the beginning, I did intend to use her to open up the market in this hospital. But soon the national policies changed. I also lost my job because I couldn't adapt to the market. After that, I came into contact with Sophia Taylor. When I met Sophia Taylor, she has already broken up with Hugo White. I don't understand why everyone says I got Sophia Taylor by underhanded means. But I can't afford to think about that right now. This illness progresses very quickly. If it keeps going untreated, it really could be fatal. I forced myself into the seat, the pain making my whole body tremble. I was bent over, completely unable to stand up. My entire back was numb and aching. A sudden thought rose in my mind. If this keeps going on, am I going to die? At that moment, an uncle noticed something was wrong with me. He gave me a shove. Hey kid, are you okay? I looked up, and my ghastly pale face made him step back 2 paces. At that moment, my whole body went limp. I slid off the chair and collapsed to the floor. Shit! The uncle shouted in fright. Doctor, someone help! There's been an accident here. The uncle's loud voice drew in Sophia Taylor and Hugo White, who had just entered. They ran over carrying a bunch of things. I thought an emergency had happened, until they saw my face. Sophia Taylor stopped. She dispersed the onlookers and looked down at me. Ethan Johnson, Have you had enough of making a scene? I looked up. She wore the relieved smile of someone who'd survived a calamity. It seems, just as I thought, that Sophia Taylor went to save Hugo White. When she stood beside Hugo White, her face was shy and blushing. The intimacy between the two warmed the air around them. Come to think of it, Hugo White could never forget Sophia Taylor, and at the crucial moment Sophia Taylor stepped forward, their relationship definitely deepened. I wanted to retort sarcastically, but faced with the will to survive, I could only put down all my dignity. I reached out to grab the hem of her white coat. Sophia Taylor, I'm having persistent upper abdominal pain right now. My back hurts too. I also feel like vomiting. Please admit me to the hospital. I thought Sophia Taylor would probably agree. After all, she knows this illness of mine is real. Who would have thought, she sneered. Ethan Johnson, you must have recited the textbook pretty hard, huh? It's a pity. No one in this world gets sick according to the textbook. I couldn't believe it. You think I'm faking it? Even if you're not faking, you deliberately drank yourself into this state. You're simply not that serious, Sophia Taylor said disdainfully. Ethan Johnson, we doctors hate people who abuse their bodies like you. I'm going to teach you a lesson this time, to show you how serious the consequences of not taking care of yourself can be. But don't worry, I won't stand by and watch you die. Her words made me feel hopeless. Sophia Taylor, my illness is really serious. I want to get up and find a way out. But the pain has left me with no strength at all. I lay on the ground like a dead fish. Pain spread from my abdomen to my heart, then to my nerves. Finally, it tore my whole being apart. Sophia Taylor was originally leaving with Hugo White. My struggling on the ground caught Sophia Taylor's attention. She turned and tried to come over. At that moment, however, Hugo White collapsed to the side and fell heavily to the ground. Hugo, what's wrong with you? Sophia Taylor panicked instantly. The anxiety on her face was something she had never shown for me. I'm a bit dizzy. Sophia, can you take me home? Sophia Taylor naturally agreed. She carefully supported Hugo White, with half of his body leaning against her. It wasn't long before the two of them changed into ordinary clothes. They left arm in arm, right in front of me. I stared fixedly at their interlaced fingers. My heart hurt more than my stomach. Hugo White turned back and gave me a smug smile. Gradually, my consciousness seemed to withdraw from my body. The view before me also gradually blurred. Claire Lewis walked up to my side. Oh, still putting on a show? Everyone's already left. I didn't even have the strength to look at her. I'm so tired. Under Claire Lewis's gaze, a metallic taste rose in my mouth. The next second, a mouthful of fresh blood spurted out. There was the first mouthful, then a second mouthful, a third mouthful. Black blood, mixed with the smell of alcohol, flowed all over the floor. Blood had stained my clothes. The mocking smile on Claire Lewis's face finally vanished, replaced by terror. But after all, she was an emergency doctor, and she quickly had someone take me into the resuscitation room. She grabbed a nurse and said, "Quick, draw his blood to test amylase, and contact the ultrasound department." The nurse was dumbfounded when she saw the large patch of fresh blood on my chest. This. What's going on? Didn't Dr. Taylor say he was faking it? Is it real or not? Claire Lewis snapped. What are you still arguing about at a time like this? Do what I told you now. After coughing up a few mouthfuls of blood, I actually felt considerably lighter. The abdominal pain also eased somewhat. The emergency room door was wide open, and many people stood at the entrance to watch the spectacle, of course seeing me covered in blood, pointing and whispering outside the door. Didn't that doctor say he was jealous and possessive? How'd he end up like this? What? I've been following this case. The young man kept saying he was sick, but none of the doctors or nurses believed him. How can you be like this? You have no medical ethics. Claire Lewis blushed at the words. She quickly shut the door, instructed another junior nurse to give me oxygen and attach cardiac monitoring. Then she took out her phone and called Sophia Taylor. The call was answered quickly, but it was Hugo White on the other end. The resuscitation room was very quiet, only the sound of the cardiac monitor. So I could also hear Hugo White saying on the phone, "Claire Lewis, is there something wrong at the hospital?" Claire Lewis knew that Sophia Taylor had taken Hugo White home. He said anxiously, "Where's Sophia Taylor? Give her the phone." Sophia Taylor is driving. She said I'm not allowed to touch the car anymore. She's going to give me rides to and from work. That last sentence could have been left unsaid, but Hugo White still deliberately emphasized it. Claire Lewis panicked. "Let her take the call." Hugo White seemed to have turned on the speaker. Sophia Taylor's voice came through the phone. What is it? Sophia Taylor, hurry back to the hospital. Ethan Johnson is vomiting blood. It looks like he really has pancreatitis. Hearing that, Sophia Taylor was unconcerned. She gave a light laugh. Spitting blood? He didn't have cardiac arrest, did he? Claire Lewis, you must have been fooled by this man again. Ethan Johnson is the best at lying. No sooner had Sophia Taylor finished speaking than Hugo White's voice sounded. Sophia, it's not nice to talk about Ethan Johnson like that. Why don't you go back? Maybe something really happened. I can drive myself back. I don't believe you. I told you I won't leave your side tonight. Sophia Taylor's tone shifted quickly from gentle to impatient. She said viciously, Claire Lewis, no matter what love potion Ethan Johnson fed you, I'm not going back. Tell him if he has the guts to kill the part of him that hates Hugo, then he could try to run us both over. The call ended. Claire Lewis looked at her phone in astonishment. It was as if she were seeing Sophia Taylor's true face for the first time today. She couldn't accept it for a moment. The way she looked at me turned sympathetic. Ethan Johnson, hold on. Sophia will be back soon. I said coldly. I heard everything. Claire Lewis didn't know what to say for a moment. After half a day, he finally managed to say, Sophia still loves you. Is that so? Until today, I thought the same. Sophia Taylor once told me that she and Ethan Johnson broke up because Hugo White cheated. When talking about this matter, Sophia Taylor's expression was full of pain. She said it was lucky she met me, otherwise she would never have been able to move past the harm Hugo White caused in her life. I always thought Sophia Taylor had truly fallen in love with me, which was why she married me. Until the first night we were married. I saw Hugo White send a message to Sophia Taylor. This is how you get revenge on me? You win. I scrolled up and realized that the reason Sophia Taylor married me was because Hugo White and that woman were already at the stage of discussing marriage. She married before Hugo White on purpose, to prove that she was the first one not to care about that relationship. But only someone who truly cares would do something like that. Because of that message, my wedding night was very unhappy. We had a huge fight. With Sophia Taylor promising never to have anything to do with him again, it ended. She also indeed had not contacted Hugo White for some time, until Hugo White completely severed ties with that woman and came to their hospital to become her colleague. The rumor that I had interfered and become the other woman then spread. Once I went to the hospital to pick up medicine, I saw Sophia Taylor and Hugo White standing together, and Hugo White was affectionately straightening her clothes. He even asked, "When exactly are you going to divorce your husband?" Hearing that, I immediately stepped forward and punched Hugo White. Sophia Taylor, however, pressed the person tightly behind her and asked sharply, "Ethan Johnson, it was just a joke. Do you have to take it this far?" Thinking of this, I closed my eyes. How could I have thought she loved me? There was clearly so much evidence that she didn't. Soon, the ultrasound doctor arrived. She moved the probe back and forth over my belly, and her expression grew serious. How did you wait until now to find out? Everything's connected in there. Quickly contact surgery for a consult. Just after the ultrasound, the urgent blood test results were brought over. Claire Lewis almost couldn't stay standing when she saw it. The surgeon arrived late. After reviewing these two results, we have to operate, otherwise we can't save his entire pancreas. Claire Lewis's face went pale in an instant. In my previous life, because the treatment was timely, it didn't get very serious. But I also looked it up online. Pancreatitis surgery is a major operation. Doctors wouldn't perform it unless absolutely necessary. Look at how resolute the doctor was. I'm afraid I'm rotten all the way through. The surgery requires hospital admission and family signatures. Claire Lewis went to contact Sophia Taylor again. But this time Sophia Taylor and Hugo White hung up the phone. No matter how she dialed, she couldn't get through. She stood there clutching the phone, helplessly looking at me. "I'm sorry, Ethan Johnson. I shouldn't have believed Sophia Taylor. I delayed your treatment, but I can't reach Sophia Taylor now. Do you have any other family contact numbers?" For Sophia Taylor, Hugo White was lost and then found. She certainly wouldn't want to leave. I thought for a moment my mom. Mentioning my mother made me think again of how miserable my family situation was in my previous life. If she came over, who knows how many scornful looks she'd have to endure. I swallowed those words back down. I gave Claire Lewis a bleak smile. "No more, I'll sign it myself." My illness was really serious. Half an hour later, I was being pushed into the operating room. I had clearly told Claire Lewis not to contact any of my other family. When I opened my eyes, I still saw my mother. Mom brightened at the sight of me waking. Then her eyes quickly filled with red. She couldn't stop the tears from falling. I forced a smile. Mom, don't cry. I'm Euphina. Still saying you're fine, you little brat, hiding such a big operation from me. Only then did I realize that when they opened my abdomen, the condition inside was even worse than the doctors had imagined. During the operation, my heart stopped several times, and it took a long resuscitation for me to survive. It was for this reason that Claire Lewis contacted my parents. Seeing my parents, who had aged many years overnight, and thinking that in their previous life they also died horribly because of me, my eyes welled up. Mom, I'm sorry. Silly child, what are you saying? Mom stroked my head, then suddenly brought up Claire Lewis. Where did Sophia go? I can't get in touch with her. I replied perfunctorily. Maybe she has something to do. What's more important than you? I'm going to the ER to find her right now. I wanted to stop Mom, but my body was too weak. I couldn't move at all. I could only watch helplessly as my parents stormed off to find Sophia Taylor. Before long, Claire Lewis ran up. She told me Sophia Taylor had called the police, and the police had arrested my parents. I ignored the wound on my stomach and sat up straight. What's going on? It turned out my parents, on their way to the ER, saw Sophia Taylor and Hugo White standing together all cozy. And that was when my mom realized Sophia Taylor hadn't been appearing in my room because she'd been with Hugo White the whole time. She flew into a rage and marched over to slap Hugo White. Hugo White is currently the apple of Sophia Taylor's eye. After slapping me, Sophia Taylor panicked and grabbed my mom by the hair. But she overlooked my dad. My dad had run with the wrong crowd when he was young, then joined the army. After discharge, he worked as a bodyguard, all muscle and force. He pinned Hugo White down and started beating him. The emergency room was in chaos, and someone called the police under these circumstances. After the police arrived and learned the situation, they took my parents away. I want to go to the police station. I tried to pull out the 4-needle, but I hadn't moved yet. The door was kicked open, and Sophia Taylor walked in with injuries on her face, bringing a heavy, low-pressure air with her. Hugo White followed behind. She came over and slapped me directly. As that slap landed, Hugo White cradled Sophia Taylor tenderly, pained. Sophia, you don't have to do this for me. The more he spoke, the more Sophia Taylor felt for him. Ethan Johnson, you're too much. It's one thing that you can't stand Hugo, but to have your parents beat him. How can you let Hugo live like this? Sophia Taylor put her full strength into that slap. I was slapped straight onto the pillow, my head buzzing. Sophia Taylor grew angrier the more she spoke. Feeling one slap wasn't enough, she raised her hand to strike me again. But she was stopped. Claire Lewis looked at her. That's enough, Sophia Taylor. Ethan Johnson is a patient. Sophia Taylor, furious. What? He acted and you believed him, or did you fall for him? Claire Lewis's face darkened, her voice unintentionally louder. Sophia Taylor, are you even human? Can't you tell Ethan Johnson was faking it? Even if you couldn't see that, can't you read a medical record? Because of one sentence from you, everyone stopped trusting him, which led to severe pancreatic adhesions that could only be resolved with surgery. And during the operation, there was massive bleeding. The surgeons had to struggle hard to save his life. Claire Lewis was clearly truly angry. She hadn't expected her friend to be so dismissive of life, and she felt remorse for her own actions last night. Even if he's not your husband, just an ordinary person, you shouldn't speak like that as a doctor. Hearing the word surgery, Sophia Taylor froze for a moment, but she quickly grew cold-eyed. That's his own doing. If he hadn't drunk so much, how could it have come to pancreatitis? Hugo White chimed in from the side. Yeah, Ethan Johnson, if you don't take care of your body, you should have expected a day like this. The two of them finished each other's sentences, and they actually seemed more like a married couple than Sophia Taylor and I. Claire Lewis was so furious, her shoulders were trembling. Sophia Taylor, I never knew you could be so cold. That was because he forced me. Sophia Taylor pointed at me. Ethan Johnson, how many attention-seeking things have you done? You just wanted to get my attention, and now look at the mess you made yourself. I finally found my voice. Yes, I was being difficult. I shouldn't have drunk so much. Hearing my words, Sophia Taylor thought I was admitting fault. For a moment, she became pompous. As long as you know you're wrong. Now you must have your parents apologize to Hugo, or his reputation will be ruined. I sneered. What does his reputation have to do with me? Didn't he already ruin my reputation for me? Hugo White, aren't you the one who often tells people I drugged Sophia Taylor back then? I used to never be able to understand it. Sophia Taylor, such an introverted person. How could she possibly go around telling others about her feelings? Yet the whole ward knew everything about the three of us. There can only be one truth. These words were spread around by Hugo White. Sure enough, after hearing what I said, Hugo White's expression changed. What do you mean, drugging someone? Ethan Johnson. Are you deliberately framing me? Ethan Johnson. Sophia Taylor hissed at me through her teeth. You did something wrong yourself, and now you're trying to blame someone else. Every time you say it's for my own good, but how many things have you actually done for me? Because of you, I'm under a lot of pressure and can only find a moment of peace with Hugo, but nothing ever happened between us. If you think there's something between the two of us, that's because of your heart. I listened to her accusations against me. So it turned out she had so many grievances against me. I closed my eyes. After a few seconds of silence, I opened them again. You're right. You two are a perfect match by nature, so let's get a divorce. I wish you both well. Those words hung in the air, and the room went quiet for a few seconds. A look of surprise flashed across Hugo White's face, but that surprise vanished the moment it met Sophia Taylor's gaze. Even I noticed it. After I brought up divorce, Sophia Taylor actually hesitated. She soon laughed again. Divorce me? Ethan Johnson, can you bear it, playing hard to get with me? Too bad I don't fall for that. Since you want a divorce, then we'll have one. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, we'd been married less than 2 years and didn't have much savings. We each own a house in our own names, both premarital property. When the car is sold, we'll just split the proceeds. Thinking of that, I felt a bit relieved again. With Sophia Taylor's temperament, after the divorce, we won't have any further contact. I calmly brought up the matter of dividing the assets. Sophia Taylor said, You actually plan to do this, but my agreeing to a divorce comes with conditions. What conditions? You must apologize to Hugo. Not just you, your whole family must. Sophia Taylor is really infatuated. She still hasn't forgotten to defend Hugo White. I nodded. All right, Hugo White, come here, I'll apologize to you. Hugo White walked over hesitantly, and in the instant he lowered his head. I spat directly at him. The spit landed on Hugo White's face, and he shouted, Ethan Johnson, do you still want to get a divorce or not? Sophia Taylor flew into another rage. I stared at her steadily. Sophia Taylor, divorce doesn't have only one way. If you don't agree, I'll sue you. You dare. Sophia Taylor raised her hand again. At that moment, the door to my ward was pushed open. Seeing the newcomer, Sophia Taylor became alert and pulled Hugo White behind her. The person who arrived was no one else. It was Mr. Robert Davis, the family member of the patient who had complained about her. Sophia Taylor frowned. What are you here for? Mr. Robert Davis ignored her and walked straight over to me, placing the flowers from his hand on my bedside. Brother, I'm really sorry. I rushed over as soon as I heard about you this morning. It's my fault for letting you drink so much. This patient's family member was also a person of status and influence. Otherwise, how could a complaint from an ordinary person have affected the appointment of the head of the emergency department? If word got out that he got me so drunk I developed pancreatitis, then his career would be over. But up until now, I haven't told anyone. I smiled. It's fine. We're all adults, and drinking at the table is voluntary. I came today to withdraw the complaint against your wife. I went to the director's office first thing this morning, Mr. Robert Davis said. You get some rest. I'll be going now. Sophia Taylor's face had already turned very ugly. Wait a minute. She hurried after him. What do you mean Ethan Johnson was drinking with you last night? What? The man gave her and Hugo White a meaningful look. You're really lucky to have married such a man who doesn't care about his life. In any case, I couldn't do something like that for my wife. There was no need to say more about this matter. A normal person would understand what he meant. Last night's drinking party was nothing short of going through a war. Sophia Taylor's face went whiter and whiter. She stood there, watching the two people leave. The ward fell silent again. Hugo White took her arm. Sophia. Sophia Taylor turned cold toward Hugo White for the first time. She pulled her hand away. Didn't you say I was acquitted because you went to the dean and paid him? Hugo White didn't expect her to ask so bluntly. She couldn't say a single sensible thing for half a day. Just then, Claire Lewis let out a light laugh. I see. I thought those were just rumors. Sophia Taylor frowned. What rumors? Claire Lewis said that it had long been said around the institute that Hugo White had bought his way into this hospital. And when he learned that Sophia Taylor had no chance of being promoted to director, he went to him, hoping to use this opportunity to get the position of emergency department director. After all, Hugo White only graduated with a bachelor's degree and had no experience working in large hospitals, yet he was able to come from a community hospital to this nationally ranked top-tier hospital. After arriving, he was even less capable. He didn't seem to know how to treat patients every day. He only knew how to hang around Sophia Taylor. She often gave patients cold looks, frequently used the wrong medication, failed to admit when she made incorrect diagnoses, and blamed everything on her colleagues. Someone even once saw Hugo White, carrying large bags, enter Dean Dr. Michael Brown's office during lunch break. After that relative called Dean Dr. Michael Brown last night, Dean Dr. Michael Brown notified Sophia Taylor. Because she had memories from a past life, Sophia Taylor brought up the matter of Hugo White and Dean Dr. Michael Brown. Hugo White went along with it and actually admitted it. Already feeling guilty toward Hugo White, Sophia Taylor suddenly felt even more heartbroken for him. Her eyes reddened as she said she wanted to repay him. After being exposed, Hugo White panicked. Sophia Taylor, you listen to my explanation. I really didn't. But now the evidence was ironclad. No matter how he explained, Sophia Taylor no longer believed him. She wore a sullen face. You're terrifying. You can even lie about something like this. Seeing Sophia Taylor like that, Hugo White became utterly desperate. Tears streamed down as he sees Sophia Taylor's hand and pleaded, Sophia Taylor, I didn't mean to hide it from you. The dean forced me into all of this. I never did it willingly. Please believe me. Don't talk nonsense. Claire Lewis exposed Hugo White's lie again. Already checked last night. You were fired from your previous hospital for fooling around. Claire Lewis was heartbroken. She hadn't expected she'd been covering for this man for so long. She had even sacrificed her principles as a doctor because of him. Sophia Taylor, open your eyes and take a good look. This man is far more frightening than you imagine. Shut up, Hugo White cried. Sophia Taylor, you can't listen to them. You clearly told me you loved me last night. Didn't you forget Ethan Johnson wants to hurt me? When he said that, I remembered. I stared straight at Hugo White. You say I want to hurt you. What evidence do you have? I'm always being beaten for no reason. That's the evidence. I only found out at the moment of my death in my previous life. Hugo White would inexplicably have some wounds appear on him, and Sophia Taylor asked him how he got them. He always blamed me. With a helpless look, he said, maybe it's because I was too close to you. Ethan Johnson must be unhappy. You always hit me where the surveillance can't see. I have no evidence. Even now, Hugo White still wants to smear me. I took out my phone and called the police. Hello. Hi. I think I might have hit someone, but I don't remember. Could you please come over to investigate? After hanging up, Hugo White's face went pale. The police arrived quickly. Seeing Hugo White slightly taken aback, he opened his mouth and said, Why is it you again? It turned out Hugo White was a regular at the police station. Because he was messing around with other people's women, he was often beaten up at his doorstep by their wives. After questioning, Hugo White also admitted that those injuries were inflicted by others and had nothing to do with me. As for the claim that I hired someone to stage a car accident, that's even more ridiculous. The police also brought the ambulance driver in the yard, Tom Wilson, over. Last night, Sophia Taylor directly stopped the car. She thought it was because of this that the accident was avoided. Actually, last night, Hugo White had an argument with the driver, Tom Wilson, and during the dispute, Hugo White grabbed the steering wheel. It nearly caused a major disaster. By now, the truth about everything was fully revealed. Hugo White was taken away for ideological re-education. Before leaving, he still held Sophia Taylor's tearful plea. Even though everything was fake, my love for you is real. You can't abandon me. Sophia Taylor gave him an indignant glance. Hugo White, it's impossible between us. Those words drove Hugo White to utter despair. He screamed hysterically, Sophia Taylor, what are you playing at with that fake deep affection? You think I'm dirty, but how much cleaner are you? I'm telling you, I've already caught the dirty disease. You can't escape either. Ha ha. Gone mad. Hugo White had completely lost his mind. After all, when the police handled this matter, quite a few people were gathered outside the ward. What Hugo White did had already spread throughout the entire hospital. After Hugo White was taken away, Sophia Taylor came to my bedside and knelt straight down. She took my hand and spoke with difficulty. I'm sorry, husband. I was wrong. I shouldn't have trusted him. I didn't know you did so much for me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Let's live our lives well together. She cried terribly, but there was a hint of genuine feeling. I pulled my hand back and said disdainfully, Don't touch me, You're disgusting. Sophia Taylor was stunned. She suddenly remembered what Hugo White had just said, realized something, and fled in a panic. That night, Hugo White exploded in anger. The reason was that a witness had uploaded what happened today online. Although the face was pixelated, someone in the comments quickly posted the name Hugo White. Sophia Taylor, of course, could not escape either. The two of them were promptly suspended by the hospital, and their reputations were ruined. Sophia Taylor, this emergency department's most promising prodigy, would never be able to climb any further. My parents were released very quickly. Because Sophia Taylor withdrew the lawsuit, she didn't even have the face to see my parents. Embarrassing in a way that was deeply satisfying. On the day I was discharged, Claire Lewis came to pick me up. She apologized to me again. I accepted her flowers, and I accepted her apology. Claire Lewis said Sophia Taylor is on birth control and being tormented terribly. Hugo White is even worse, hiding at home every day, afraid to see anyone. They got what they deserved. I smiled. Is this karma? If it is karma, shouldn't Sophia Taylor be suffering exactly the same fate as I did in my past life? I didn't go back to my and Sophia Taylor's home. I went back to my mom's house instead. The next day, I sent her the divorce papers. I posted it in the morning, and in the afternoon, Sophia Taylor came looking for me. She begged me not to divorce. Husband, I know you mind about my affair with Hugo White, but I was deceived by that man. It was all because he lied to me. I'm taking my medication properly now. I won't get that kind of disease. Stay with me. Let's start over. Start over? I don't know how Sophia Taylor had the nerve to say something like that. Sophia Taylor, you don't still think I divorced you because you got sick, do you? From the moment you drugged my family, there was never any possibility between us again. Hearing the words drugged, Sophia Taylor took a step back. You how? She keenly sensed. You were reborn too? I nodded. Do you still want to get back together with me now? Sophia Taylor was left speechless. She had no face to tell me about the previous life. In the end, the two of us still didn't end up divorced. It was the very afternoon Sophia Taylor left my house that she got into a car accident. An eyewitness said she could have avoided the other car, but Sophia Taylor still collided with it. She died horribly. I was quite affected by it. The world is unpredictable. Luckily, we didn't divorce. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to leave me her assets.